What is up, everybody? Happy Christmas Eve, one day before Christmas, and it is Wednesday, and so we are here at 0800, 8 o'clock for my non-military folks, with another edition of the $1 Million Coffee Hour. I'm your host, Johnny Lionel, founder of REI Genius, and it's been a fast year. I can't believe that we are 1 week away from 2025 being completely over. It has been a wild year. Artificial intelligence, Doge, government shutdowns, massive cutoffs, job losses, and you name it. It's just been a wild year, in good and bad. I would tell you, it's been a blessed year for me. Challenges on the real estate side, dealing with some properties where we had vandalism and still rebounding back from that. But at the same time, retired from the Air Force. We had a great party, retirement party with family and friends. Transition into being a financial advisor. That's been great. Spending more time with the family, and now retooling everything that we're doing going into 2026. And so one of the things that I really wanted to kind of bring to top of mind as we go into 26, as we position ourselves for our next level or to our greatness in 2026 that we should be aspiring for, is what is the proper vision, what is the proper mindset. And so really bringing those two together and having the vision mindset where you're being a visionary with how you're crafting your future, how you're crafting your goals that you're setting for yourself, because we all know education without execution is entertainment. So if you're not taking action on the information, if you're not learning, if you're not continuously pouring into your professional development, if you're not smarter in 2025 than you were in 2024, then you have some things to work on, whether you know it or not. Whether you choose to do it is up to you. But we all should be striving to be better investors, better in our relationships, better on our jobs, better in our business, and being able to level up in a way where now we can find that success that for so many people it's elusive. That they know that they want success, or they say that they want success, but a lot of people don't have the roadmap, the framework to build the success for them for their lives based off where they are. And it's sad because as you look at it more and more, elderly individuals are having to be they're being forced to stay in the workforce longer for less pay. Inflation is rampant, is running high. I read an article this morning on the Wall Street Journal that was just talking about the narrowing field of Federal Reserve chairman that are going to replace Jerome Powell, and the consensus is they're going to put a yes man in place. That's going to artificially, he's going to drop interest rates. He's going to appease the current administration. Whether that's wrong or right, we'll see. But guess what? Inflation is going to be here. Inflation is going to be here. And if you aren't being a steward and a strategist on your finances, on your investments, you're going to lose because inflation is going to wipe out the buying power. We see it already from where pre-COVID, where we were with what we were paying for everything from haircuts, the nail salon, where things are right now. But if you start looking at food and gas, that and compared to where things were 5, 6 years ago, uh, pre-inflation, that things aren't changing. Prices aren't going down. The price of rent is not going down anywhere. And regardless of oversupply and the things that you have, no, somebody asked, am I a conspiracy theorist? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I would say I'm a realist. I'm a realist because if you look over the history of the US dollar, once we went off the gold standard in the 1970s with Richard Nixon, that inflation, the Federal Reserve's goal, their goal in life, if they could have everything perfect, is to keep inflation at 2%. And if they keep inflation at 2% over a decade, 10 years, that means the dollar is going to have 20% less buying power. So this is facts. This is what they're looking for. Their goal is to maintain inflation at 2%. And so with that, if we're not investing in real assets, whether it's stocks, we're looking at bonds, if we're managing our risk profile and hedging against inflation, buying real estate, buying ownership in other companies, starting our own businesses and companies where we're creating products and services where we're bringing in revenue, then we're going to be left behind. Like the goings, I think it may have been, I don't know if it was Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, or Grant Cardone, but savers are losers. And the thing is, because you're losing money every day because of inflation, it's killing you. It's killing your return on investment. So, not a conspiracy theorist. That's a Great comment, because it can sound like that. But I think when you look at the data, the facts, and you look at how corporations are moving, how they're navigating offerings on Wall Street, if you look at how companies are, looking to buy assets, you see hedge funds on Wall Street, they're buying up all the rental properties. That the writing is on on the wall that you have to own real assets in order to hedge against inflation. And the person that is hurting is the middle class and those who don't own assets. If you owned a home in 2020, right now your property is up at least for most of America, no absolutes, but most of America, their house has appreciated at least 30%. Some places 40, 50% of appreciation just because of the run up. We printed all this money with during COVID, and it drove inflation up. But guess what? It drove real asset prices up as well. And so if you go back and study history and you look at the same time when we had inflation that was at like 9% in 2022, and you go look at the 1970s and look what happened when inflation shot up that high and what happened to real estate prices over the next decade after that. So a lot of this stuff is just historical. If you go back and look at the information, it's going to tell you that the history rhymes with the past, and when you're looking at the future. And so that's the thing that we're doing. We're positioning ourselves strategically where we can align with what's going on in the economy, with ownership and the assets in order to build wealth and to not have to work until we're 80. If you guys follow me on YouTube, check out the video I launched last week that I reviewed this documentary. I think it was Business Insider, but they sat down with like 5 80-year-olds that were working, still having to work in order to survive. And you have people out here telling you that $100 million isn't a lot of money as some of these athletes, but at the same time, you have people that are 84 years old that are driving 3 days a week on Uber just to make an extra $250 to survive. And so that's what I'm trying to get in front of with everything that we're doing with the community and REI Genius is to help you guys not be in a position having that vision 20, 30, 40 years from now where you're not 80 years old and you're having to still work just to survive, not even to thrive, to travel the world, to do what it is that you want to do, travel, spend time with your kids, your grandkids, or to give back to the nonprofit that you care about, but being able just to be able to live life on your own terms. Because right now, when we start talking about long-term care, that if you two couples that are both 65, that there's a 20 over 25% chance that one of them they're going to live to in their 90s. And the last thing that you want to do is live into your 90s and don't have enough money, don't have enough wealth. And I know for a lot of people, you may have a lot of debt right now. You may not be able to see 2 days ahead, more or less 20 years from now in the future and start saving, but you have to start doing the little things every day. And so that's what we're going to dive in today, the vision mindset, and really focus in on thinking beyond our limits and really drive into what our future looks like and really focusing in on 2026. And and you really have to break it down by the numbers and go through it. But the thing is, you have to realize wherever you are in your life right now, whether you where you want to be, if you're not where you want to be, if you kind of you're figuring out and you know where you're going, your ceiling isn't a reality. It's your perception. I'll say that again. Your ceiling isn't reality. Your capabilities, what you believe that you can do, the only reason you believe that that's all you can do is because of your perception, or maybe your upbringing, your environment is limiting you, and you've accepted. Because there's a saying that says, if you believe you can do something, you're right, and if you don't believe you can do something, you're right. And it all comes down to your perception on your life and what it is that you're looking to do and what you're looking to build. But the thing is, people, they really hold themselves back on what they think is realistic and their self-imposed limitations based off your past experiences. I've always been this person. I've always worked in this role in my career. And my parents never owned their home that they lived in. I can't own real estate. When there's people out here buying real estate every day, it's people I bought apartment complexes with 100% financing where I actually got paid. I got money at closing because they had to give me the security deposit. But if I didn't know and had that experience, I would think that too. If I've never experienced that, I would sit here and say, oh no, you can't buy a 24-unit apartment with no money down. Yes, you can. You just got to have the right owner. You got to have conversations with people who own an asset that's 80 years old, that have managed it for 30 years. They want to retire. They're done with it. But they haven't kept up with market rent. They have deferred maintenance. And that's how you come in with that proposition and how that deal can work. But if you just sit back and say, no, this doesn't work because on TV, they just tell me I had to go get a loan, I had to stay in a single family home, or I can say a perfect example, I just want to stay in my trailer. I don't even want to go get a home. I just want to stay in my trailer. But the thing is, we condition ourselves with our mindset and our approach that where we limit our reality, whether it's good or bad. And so a lot of times we have to break through and get past those boundaries that are we set ourselves. And a lot of times we call it in the circles that I'm in, you have to stretch yourself. That if you're not uncomfortable with your goal, then you're dreaming too low. Your goal is too low. If it doesn't make you uncomfortable, when you sit back and like, man, I'm gonna need the Lord to step in on this. That I'm gonna have to lean into my faith on this goal because it's supernatural. It's gonna be outside of my power. It's gonna be outside of my expertise in order for me to get to this next level in my life. And that's why it's so important to have people in your circle that are in a place in life that are higher than you, that are, where you want to be, where you're aspiring to be, that can provide that mentorship, that can provide those goals, because proximity is power. Proximity is power. If you're around the right people, you're gonna think different, you're gonna think bigger, you're gonna think larger, you're gonna dream larger. You're gonna see, hey, I can achieve this too, because I've been in plenty of rooms when I look around the room, I'm like, man, come on. They're not more talented than me. They're not more skilled than me. They don't have more drive. They don't have more hustle. They don't have more grit than me. So why am I playing small? Why am I holding myself back? And so that's the thing that you have to do. You have to get past going into 2026. We have to get past ourselves. We have to grow. Your goal should scare you. Your vision should scare you. You should get chill bumps when you read it because it's that far out there, because that the thing is that's what's going to allow you to get to that next level. Even if you have a scary dream that scares you and you only hit 50% of it next year, you're still winning. You're still going to be way further ahead than when you were dreaming small. And so that's the thing that we have to look at is where do we want to go? Where do we want to be? If we weren't preconceived, or we can't do this, we're not smart, we're not educated enough, if we didn't think all this stuff conditioned, what do you want to do? Where do you want to be? And then now let's go build that life and take that first step in realizing how we can go past that ceiling. So it starts with goals. You got to measure the milestones to mark progress along the journey. We had a goal setting session. Go back a couple weeks. I went through the SMART goal framework where you got to have specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. SMART, that framework, to where you can make sure that you're setting realistic goals that you can achieve and hit. And then your vision, long-term identity and direction that shapes what you become. You have to have vision. You have to have vision. And so a lot of times we just kind of go through life without a plan. We don't have a plan. We're not looking strategically where we want to go and understanding what it is that we want to do. What's up, man? Somebody took the remote. Okay. Tell her to give it back. Okay. I'll be there in a few minutes. All right. I'm in the middle of recording right now. Thanks. All right. But vision. And so the thing is, when you go and look at the Bible, Habakkuk 2 and 2, but the Bible, Habakkuk 2 and 2, that talks about write the vision and make it plain. But when you go back to Proverbs in chapter 29, it talks about where there is no vision, the people perish. And the thing is, the Bible's been around for a long time and it talks about these things, but a lot of times people still don't adhere to them. Like the vision, you have to have a vision for your life, because where there is no vision, guess what? The people perish. And we see that so many days, so much today. And even when you look at the Bible talks about the poor would always be with you. That is really when you think about poor mindset, because guess what? You're beat down, you don't have the right mentality, you don't have goals, you don't have a vision for your life, you're poor. Because the thing that wealth is not a dollar figure. Wealth is a mindset. Wealth is having the right relationships, having peace, having love, having joy. Those are the things that are free. And so when it says you're poor in spirit, it's talking about your mindset. And so you have to move with a vision and cast a vision for where you want to do, what you want to be in 26. Because if you don't have a plan, you'll go for anything. You'll look up, you'll be in the club every weekend, every Friday, Saturday night, but you're saying you want to be a real estate investor, but you're not spending any time in real estate studying it during the week. You don't have any time to read any new books. You're not talking to any real estate investors. You don't have a mentor that's a real estate investor. So how you gonna be just magically be a real estate investor just because you say it? You have to have goals and you have to have a vision on what you want to build. And that vision allows you to look at everything that you're doing and understand, is this moving me closer to where I said I want to be in my life? And if not, then we have to change it. And then, the thing is, we talked about it, think it small. We're conditioned by our past experiences on how we move forward. We grew up in an impoverished, or we grew up less than middle class, that we didn't see wealth around us every day. We didn't see engineers. We didn't see doctors and lawyers where we grew up. We didn't see real estate investors growing up. I didn't see any of that stuff, but I found it. I had to go seek it out. And once I got a glimpse of the information, and got a hold of different books and seeing how other people were moving, reading people's story on how they built wealth. And I didn't let it go. And I kept striving at it. I was listening to a podcast with PBD, Patrick Bet David, and he was interviewing the attorney, the founder of Morgan and Morgan. I know you've seen the commercials with Morgan and Morgan. He's a billionaire litigator, lawyer, and he was just talking about he spent $500 million on his company for marketing alone in 2025, and he's looking to spend even more going into 2026. But he had a really interesting story where he talked about how he made it, his grit. He grew up from a middle class family, but he was a paper boy, and it was really interesting. He was just talking about his new book coming out and how the ability for the grit and grind of paper boys, those that were old enough, that generation, baby boomers, that had paper routes. And he went off to name off all these entrepreneurs that were really successful, that had paper routes, that were entrepreneurial, that had grit, that were, at a young age as a teenager, that were having businesses, whether it was Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, all notable paper boys. If you just do a Google search for like paper boys, people who had paper routes and the grind that they went through. And he talked about how he started Morgan and Morgan. He really wasn't the smartest kid coming out of high school, was going off to school, thought he wanted to be a lawyer. Uh, he was 19 years old in college, and his brother, they both worked for Disney in Orlando. Brother was working as a lifeguard, dove into a pool and had a traumatic injury and became paralyzed, and Disney didn't want to pay. And so his family didn't have a lot of money. Kind of big brother leaning on the Disney, where they didn't want to pay, and they were kind of using their money where to kind of get around having to actually pay for their health care, to pay for his brother's procedures. And so his passion became fighting for the little guy, going against these big corporations. And it was something that was heartfelt because he lived it with his brother. And his brother didn't make a full recovery. He was a paraplegic. He was in a wheelchair, and he works with him day to day in Morgan and Morgan. And he built that business off the pain that he suffered firsthand with his family, and seeing how it crushed his family in order to find the money to try to litigate Disney just to take care of their child. And so that was the thing that really pushed him, that gave him that vision to go forward and to excel to new levels. Because one of the things I'll tell you with REI Genius and everything that we've built, that for my first book that I wrote, Millionaire Real Estate Success Strategies, what they forgot to teach you in school, is my journey, because no one taught me this information. I was great. I was excelled academically. I had a 4.2 coming out of high school, had academic scholarships, went off to the Air Force. I graduated with an electrical engineering degree, Honor Society for Electrical Engineering from the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. But I didn't have financial literacy. I had screwed up my credit with the credit cards they gave me in college. Weren't paying them on time. And the most humbling thing that I talk about in my book was having a family member have to sign on my lease for my first apartment at my first duty station. Here I am with a job, my first new job out of college degree, and they won't even give me an apartment, because guess what? I didn't have the rules. Because guess what? You can have education, you can have all these things, be smart, and still, if you don't have financial literacy, you don't have a good credit score, you're not going to get anything. And so I had to change my mindset and what I put my priorities on. And from there, I found real estate. I bought my first property with my VA loan a year later. And I saw how I didn't have to have money down. I was like, okay, let's do this again. Let's run this back. And I started learning more about real estate. Then I started buying foreclosures as I moved around with the military. Then I bought my first property in Birmingham for 25K. Then I bought another one for 6,500 off a foreclosure auction. And then my wife and I, we started a fix and flip business, one property at a time. And then we started buying apartment complexes. But you have to have that vision. You have to get past the fear, because you can't use the excuse, well, my parents this, or I didn't know. You got to go find it. Everything that we need and want right now is in these cell phones, or even on these watches. I was in Costco last night. We were picking up a couple of Apple watches, and you're just looking at, you can text, you can call from the watch. It can tell you pretty much got a machine that years ago would cost $100,000 in order to read your vital signs in a hospital. Now they can do it with the sensors on a watch. The thing is, but you have to go out and seek the information, and being able to not be lazy, to not be caught up with the social media and just looking at entertainment, but really focusing on the information that's going to move the needle in your life, in your kids' life, in your family's life. And the thing is, it's easy to do, but it's not, because it takes execution, it takes discipline, it takes perseverance in order to get there. And sometimes you're gonna be wrong. You're not gonna. I wish I could tell you that every time that I'm always right about everything. And you would ask my wife, and she'll tell you, no, he's not right. He's not right about everything, and that's okay. But the thing is, the fear of being wrong, like, we're conditioned. Because me, I would say I was in a position of being academically challenged, and not academically challenged, but being in a way where your success is tied to you getting 100, you getting an A, a B, and if you get an F for failure, that's a bad thing. But I learned in business, you want to fail, and you want to fail often. And that's one of the things I learned on the technology side when we look at China and how they fail and fail fast. And we see it implemented with Tesla and SpaceX, and how they were able to go from launching a rocket into space, launching satellites into space. And the first stage, which is the most expensive stage, always just crashes into the ocean. And Elon Musk came back and said, hey, how about we set this up where we can bring that first stage back to the ground and reuse it, and drive down the most expensive part of launching something into space, and we make it reusable. And that's how SpaceX was birthed, and going into that. Because for decades and decades and decades, the ULA, United Launch Alliance, they have been launching things in space from the 60s, and no one ever thought about, hey, let's bring this first stage back, which is most important, most expensive. That it's just been accepted that they're going to drop it into the ocean. But the thing is, you have to think differently and break past your conventional wisdom, and being able to move forward and be able to be okay with fear. Because there's going to be fear, there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be failures. But guess what? I'm reading this book right now by John Maxwell. It says sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. It's not that sometimes you lose, but sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And the thing is that we have to learn. And the faster that you fail, the faster that you're going to learn what not to do, and start moving over and moving past your limitations. And then over attachment to current constraints. Like, that right there can write a book. Like, we get conditioned into our current environment, and our brain is set up in a way to protect us, but we have to move past our comfort zone. Like, your breakthrough is going to be in your comfort zone. The thing is, if you don't get past your comfort zone, you're going to always have what you have. Insanity is thinking you're going to continue doing the same thing and get different results. And if you're not moving out your comfort zone, you're going to stay where you are. If you don't change your habits, and you're not saving money every month, you're never going to have enough money left around to invest. If you don't start setting up strategies on saving on your taxes, you're going to always keep paying way more in taxes than you necessarily have to. But without a plan, without a vision, you're going to keep the status quo. You're going to keep the same old, same old. And so, moving into that, how do high performers think? We talk about the negative things that hold us back, but how do high performers think? They define the destination, start with the end in mind. For me, I already know 2026, when I look at my financial advising business, it's like, okay, I want to generate $10 million in business. I want to do 8 million from DSTs, from Delaware Statutory Trust, helping people 1031 exchange money into institutional deals. And then I want to do about $2 million of volume in just multifamily funds, with helping accredited investors just place capital into multifamily. And so with that, I already know, hey, where are the people that need these transactions? How do I get their information? How many do I need to reach out on a weekly basis? How many of those do I need to follow up with a phone call? And from those people that I follow with a phone call, I need to clear 10% of those in order to convert into at least 2 deals a month. And I backtrack that in. So I know where my destination, that 10 million, I have the strategy to go through. I know how we're going to email, we're going to cold call, we have these events that we're going to go to in person, and we're going to have these calls made directly. We're going to build these relationships for referrals, and then now the resources are going to catch up, because I don't have all these connections yet. I haven't met all the CPAs. I haven't met all the 1031 qualified intermediaries. I haven't met all the investors yet that need to invest in the deals that I have access to as a licensed security professional. But I know the resources are going to catch up because I had the vision already crafted in my brain for 2026. And now I'm going to bring the resources over the next 6 months, over the next quarter to make it happen. And so that's the thing that we have to realize, that we have to cast the vision and then pull in the resources, pull in everything that the people that we're going to need to make it happen. Because the thing is, everything that you want, I know Grant Cardone said this, everything that you want, everything that you want right now in life that you don't have, a stranger has it. Somebody that you do not know right now has it. But the thing is, we're always told, fear, that don't talk to strangers, that you need to get out here and talk to strangers because they have what you need and have what you want. And so that's the thing with building community, building your network is going to drive you to the success that you want. And it may be uncomfortable because a lot of times we'll focus in on those things that we think we need, but a lot of times we don't focus in on the things that we want for our life and how we need to go out and do it and how to bring that in. And so that's the thing. High performers start with the end in mind. And when you talk to individuals that are CEOs, and when I'm in the rooms having conversations with people, we're talking about goals. We're talking about, hey, what's your strategy for 2026? How can I add value to what you're doing in 2026? And a lot of times when I share my goals, that a lot of people are like, wow, what did you gonna do? What, Tim? You're like, man, how you gonna do that? It's like, well, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. Like, oh wow, okay, I can see that now. But the thing is, you have to be around people that are going to stretch you, that have the relationships, that have the resources, that you can be a resource to them to help them accomplish their goals. And guess what? They're going to reciprocate that and allow you to help you reach your goals. Because guess what? A rising tide it raises all ships. But guess what? If you're not in the water, you're going to be right there on the shore in the same place if you're not moving out and taking action. The vision filter. Every decision should answer one question. Does this move me closer to the future I'm designing? This is one that I've learned the hard way. You can't say yes to everything. My favorite word right now is, Jace, what's my favorite word? No. Oh my God. My son's right here. No, my favorite word is not 6, 7. That's your favorite word. My favorite word is no. You have to learn how to say no. 6, 7, of course. But your favorite word has to become no, because guess what? Every opportunity isn't an opportunity. That you have to understand that every decision that you make, it has to align with your goals and habits. You don't have that much time. The average male lives to be 73 years old, somewhere around there in the United States. I'm 43. That means if I'm a statistic, I got 30 years left. You don't have that much time. If you're in your 50s, you're in your 60s, you don't have that much time left to be making mistakes. If you really think about it, 30 years, you spend 8 hours a night sleeping. That's a third of that time. Okay, that's 10 years of sleeping out of those 30. So that leaves you 20 years. If I'm still working a job, that's another 8 hours. Okay, that's another 10 years of working. So I got really 10 years out of the next 30 to do what I want to do with my life. If I'm not living on purpose, if I'm not working in a job that I love, if I'm getting 8 full hours of sleep, it's not a lot of time. You have to be about your business right now because time is running out for each and every one of us. And if you're older, if you're in your 50s and 60s, you got to move any day. And even with that, I've lost classmates, I've lost friends, loved ones that were, younger than me. And we see it, having, a friend had a heart attack a couple weeks ago. That's younger than me. It's crazy. So you have to be prepared. You have to live on purpose when it's your health, it's your wealth, it's your relationships, it's your jobs that you're doing. Like life is too short to be doing something you don't want to do. I promise you. I'm telling you right now, take it from me, that figure out how to make it work, how to figure out how to get to where you want to be, to what you want to do. And shame on you if you go work for someone else working 8, 10 hours every day and you don't put an hour or two to build something for you, to build the business for you and your family. So the thing is, you want to make sure that everything on your calendar aligns with what you say you want to do. If you want to buy one real estate property, investment property, you need to be saving money towards that every month. You probably need to be networking with certain amount of brokers every week. You need to be sending direct mail to owners. If you want to go direct to owners and getting great deals off market, you need to be marketing directly to them. I talked with a wholesaler He's part of my Alabama Facebook group, and we met yesterday. Austin's going to come on. He's going to be one of the first people on my podcast next year, 2026, the Deal Makers Club, where we're breaking down deals where owners and brokers just talk about transactions. But he's got 16 deals he's closing in December, and he shared that in the group. I was like, Austin, man, you killing it. Him and his wife are killing it, and their team working together. So he's coming on. We're going to sit down and talk shop and go through it. But the thing is that you got to be able to understand what does success look like. You need to be talking to wholesalers if you're trying to buy deals. You need to be talking directly to owners to get deals. There's a way to make success happen. But if you're not doing that, if you're spending time watching Netflix, if you're watching 4 hours of Netflix a week, or maybe people watch more than that. Like I don't watch TV. Like people get frustrated with me because I don't know who actors are outside of Denzel and a few other people, but you have to really be focused. Like I'm laser focused. I don't just sit and watch TV. Like it's hard for me to even sit down and watch my Lakers play. I usually watch Alabama, but even with the Lakers, I'm not staying up late past 10 o'clock to watch them. I would just watch it all on YouTube over 15 minutes when I wake up in the morning. And now I watch a 3 hour game in 15 minutes and done and save my time. But the thing is, you have to understand where you can ebb and flow and spend your time. You shouldn't be going to the club, spending all your money in the club, bottle service, and doing those things. You shouldn't be going and doing all these other things and hobbies and buying baseball cards and doing different things if it's not aligning to your long-term goals. Your schedule should align to your goals. If you want to date your spouse, then you probably should have your date night on there once a week, or once a month, or whatever it is, whatever the case. Put it on your schedule. Spending time with your kids once a quarter, getting out with each one of your kids, spending 3 or 4 hours, no phones, and doing different experiences. Because kids, one of the things that we don't realize, kids like this stuff. And I tell mine that you're gonna get one gift, that's it, and we're gonna focus on giving back to somebody else. And because and we'll do experiences throughout the year, because they're gonna remember those experiences, those trips, way more than some toy that you bought them or something that you gave them, or going and buying stock. And like that's one of the things we use the green light app, that my oldest, that he's all in, like, Dad, man, I need to go buy Apple stock. Everybody, they come out with an iPhone every year, and people just go and buy it just because it's the new iPhone, even though it's not even really updated. I'm like, oh really? I'm like, tell me more. And then he was just talking about it. He's like, yeah, so I want to buy some Apple stock. I'm like, well, you probably should put all your money in Apple. What's some other stocks you want to do? You want to diversify. And so now he kind of understands diversification. So it's like little stuff like that. Like these kids, they want your time. They want experiences. They don't want you just to buy stuff and throw stuff at them. They want you to be available to them. They want you to be at the practices. They want you to be at the games. And I would say they want you to be at the practices, but not yelling at them and cheer and acting like you're like you're part of the game and taking it serious. Because a lot of times we parents, I have to check myself, that we get overwhelmed and we're living vicariously through our kids on the athletic fields at the same time. But they just want you there. They want to be out there, have fun, and they want to be able to glance over there when they score that goal and look over there and make sure you're not on your cell phone, that you're in the moment, that you're watching them or that you're recording them and you're participating in their life. And that's going to stay with them way more than you buying them some $20 toy that they're not even going to play with come February, that they're done with. And so having that decision and understanding everything that you're doing, how that fits in your life, is going to be paramount, and saying no to some things. And then the year end reset. So right now, what you need to do, you need to assess where you are. What's 2025 successful? I would tell you, if you're here, it's success. It was successful. If you made it this far, you may not be where you wanted to be. But guess what? You are further ahead, hopefully, than you were in 2024, in 2020, 2015. That's progress. That's success. Success is measured backwards, not forward to where the goal. Like it's cool to have these goals and visions. Like I said, I'm like, hey, I want to help place $10 million in capital as an advisor going into next year. But guess what? If I only place five, that's cool. Even if I only place one, that's cool too. I'm not gonna beat myself up. I know I can do more, but at the same time, you have to be realistic and know that your success, your self worth can't be tied to the goals that you set in the future, because you're already successful today. So you got to understand, who do I need to become? How do I shape this identity, this new person that I want to become? And then what do I want the next 3 to 5 years to look like? You got to think past the immediate. I know it's so hard to think 3 years out in the future right now when you're dealing with all today's challenges and everything that you're facing right now. But stop and pause. What do you think? What do you want the next 3 to 5 years to look like? Where do you want to be? Are you in the same house? Close your eyes and visualize. Are you in the same house? 3 to 5 years. Are you in the same job, the same career field? How's your investment portfolio? Where will you be Christmas 5 years from now? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be in Paris? You want to be in Rome, Miami, South Beach, New York City? Visualize it. Where do you want to be? Maybe you want to be where you're at. I want to be, hey, for me, I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to be right here. I want to. We're gonna be somewhere else. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna go somewhere. But the thing is, you want to visualize where you want to be. Who's gonna be with you? Everybody can't go. I'm gonna tell you right now. Everybody that's with you right now in your life, 3 to 5 years, everybody cannot go because everybody's not gonna see the vision. Everyone is not going to see your vision. And I'm here to tell you, I struggle with that because you want everybody to go. I know you do. They can't go. Everybody's not going to be able to make it. Because guess what? For one, everybody's not going to see the vision. They're not going to come behind the vision. And that's okay because God's going to give the vision to you, not to them. You still got to go. You got to go by yourself. You know, whether just like Abraham, you got to go. You got to go to the promised land. You got to get out there and go to the land that he's promised you. He's going to give you. But the thing is, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to lose some people that you thought were in your circle. Guess what? Everybody's not in your circle. Everybody's not cheering for you. Everybody's not wanting you to see your success because guess what? They have a limited vision for your life. They see you where you are today. They don't necessarily see you on the other side of everything that you're building. And that's okay. But the thing is, who's going to be there with you? You know who your ride or dies are. Who's going to be there with you? And the thing is, you should have people around you that are trying to go somewhere too. Because guess what? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that's what we're doing with REI Genius. We're going together. And you don't need but a handful of people. Well, what the Bible says that one can put 1,000 to flee, two can put 10,000 to flee. Like, hold on, that don't even math. That don't even add up. How can one person put 1,000 to flee and two put 10,000 to flee? But that's the thing. It's not even addition or multiplication. It's exponential math. And I was listening to a guy who was saying it's kingdom math, where you start thinking about how God works and how he can just take two people and put 10,000 to flee. And so that's the thing you got to figure out who's going to be beside you, who's going to be there with you. Still with those eyes closed and you're focusing on where you want to be 5 years from now. How does your bank account look? How, do, how does the bank account look? How many commas do you want? Money's not everything, but it helps. It helps because I always tell people, if I'm poor, I can't help. I can't plant any seeds and pour into anybody else. If I don't have money, then I can't bless other people. And so that's the thing that you have to realize. How do you show up in the marketplace? How do you leverage capitalism to advance everything that you're doing, but also advance the other causes with helping others, nonprofits, your church, giving back, and being able to be a good steward of the resources that the Lord blessed you with? Because I know when you start talking about money in the church and stuff, people get squirrely. They start shifting the seed and stuff, and rightfully so. A lot of people have negative connotations, but you have to move past that because at the same time, when you look at the spirituality and when you think about it, you go back and look and research the Bible that uh, Jesus talked about money and wealth way more than he talked about heaven and hell combined. Go look it up. And he talked about how people use your money and how people tithe and how the power of money. He talked about that way more than actually talking about heaven and hell. And when you think about like the parable of the talents and how the servant gave, how the master gave one servant 5 talents, he gave one two, and he gave the other one just one. And how when he came back, the one had turned five, he turned that into 10. He turned the one that had two, he turned it into four. And then the one that had one, he buried it. He didn't turn it into anything. And he called him wicked. He called him a fool. And he took the one that he had, and when it buried, he took it from him and when he gave it to the one with 10. Because you have to be a good steward of the resources that you have been blessed with. And that's what we're doing. That's why we're planning. That's why we're strategizing for 2026 in order to be a good steward of the resources that we have, where we can exponentially grow what God has given us and not just squander it, not just put it under buying depreciating assets, buying stuff with it that's not going to return an investment at the end of the year, but we're investing it smartly and investing in the right people and in the right things, the systems that are going to take us to the next level in everything that we're doing. So we got to have that year-end reset. we need to do, and we know where we want to be. We know where we want to be 5 years from now. We know who we want with us. We know what we want our bank account to look like. What are the relationships that you want to have, that you want to foster? Who do you need on your team? Who's on your board? Who's the chairman of your board? Hopefully you're the chairman of the board, but who are the board members at your table that you need? Do you need a CPA? Do you need a fractional CFO? Do you need a full-time CFO? Maybe you need to hire a CEO. Maybe you need to bring in a CEO and outsource that takes the business to the next level. I was talking to a neighbor. He's a veteran, by the way. Runs an HR company, and he's looking. Him and his wife, they're moving to Spain next year, and he's like, "Hey, I got the board set up." He's like, "I'm bringing in a CEO, and we're going to Spain, man." He's like, "We checking out. We moving to Spain. When I was stationed overseas for a lot of years when I was in the service in the army, and we're going back to Spain, man, living our best life. And I'm looking at hiring, bringing somebody on, and I can sit in on a couple meetings throughout the day, throughout the week here and there, and but I'm out." But that's the thing. You got to have a board. Who's going to run the business? How are you going to position yourself as a business? Because each and every one of us, we are a business. Whether you know it or not, you are the brand. You are your brand. And the sooner that you know that, the sooner that you can show up out here in the marketplace and start commanding things. One of the cool things, you guys will see it coming out next year. We did one video in November for Veterans Day with Navy Federal Credit Union. They brought me on as kind of a brand ambassador, and just did finish it up, wrapped up. I don't even know if I can say that, but we'll see. Be on the lookout for next year. They got something else coming out that they're gonna do that we did with some video content that's gonna be really cool. But you got to be the brand. And people got to understand you as the brand, and a brand that they want to align with everything that it is that you're doing. And so understand you need other people on your board, on your team, because you can't be that CEO, that entrepreneur that's trying to do it all, because you're gonna fail. You got to have the right people on your team, and understanding that is going to set you up for success long term. And what am I no longer available for? Oh man, like I said, my favorite word is no, not 6-7. It's no. You gotta say no to some things. Like for me, it's like I can't go speaking at I can't go speaking at events that aren't going to move the needle to where I want to be. Or I can do some things online and speak online. I have more time for that before it's just traveling, because guess what? My non-negotiables, I'm not missing a lot of soccer games. There'd be a rare occasion that I'll miss if I can't get back home by Saturday morning to be there for the games. Then we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have to adjust some things, and that's fine. But because you got to say no. You can't say yes to everything. You can't go make all the trips. You can't go to all the destinations. You can't just go to all the aimless networking bids. You got to be strategic with your time. We talked about it. We only have so much time left, that you have to be strategic with the rooms that you go in, the people that you're networking with, and the conversations that you're having, and going forward with everything that you're doing. But at the same time, you got to maintain that balance. So that's something to think on, reflect intentionally as we go into 2026. If you want help in these areas, definitely reach out. We have tools and systems to help you optimize your performance with everything that you're going through and putting it together. Write a vision that scares you in a good way. We talked about this already. You got to push past your comfort zone. When you start talking about, what can I do? What's possible? You got to dream. You got to be like a kid and have that vision. You want to go to the moon and not worry about all the everything that has to come. The resources will come behind you, but you have to move out. You got to get in the right rooms. You got to get around the right circles, and you got to remove those artificial limits that you bring into your brain on what you think is realistic. And then you got to revisit it weekly. Measure those KPIs, those key performance indicators. Like I broke down how to get to 10 million in revenue generated. I got to guess what? I got to send so many emails. I got to make so many phone calls a week that's going to convert to so many deals that's being placed under contract, that are being signed up for. And then guess what? So many in-person networking events. I already looked in 2026. I know everything that's coming to the Gaylord at the National Convention Center there in DC, and the other conference center in DC proper, that I know every event that's coming that I want to go to. And I'm being strategic. I know the meetups that I want to go to here in the local area, who I need to talk to locally. The country club where the CCIM, the commercial real estate brokers, they're having their quarterly Atlantic Coast their quarterly meetup 5 minutes away from where I live at the country club. I'm like, okay, well, cool. I'm in the room. I'll gladly pay to have 100 of the top brokers in the same room with me. Because guess what? All I need is five. That's how many people. I need five. I just need five to refer me business. Because guess what? I know the average asset, if they bring in, and we say the average asset is 350,000, I got five people that give me two referrals a year. That's 10 times 3.5. That's 3.5 million right there of my 8 million target from just five people that's bringing me two deals over 12 months. So that's the thing. You have to look at who can be that force multiplier in your life that you can go one to many. They're like, oh, wait, I know him and he knows 10 CEOs. He knows 10 business owners because he's the CPA for 10 business owners. Or he works with all the sellers. He does the highest volume because you guys got to research. Like I can go in on the data right now. I can tell you the top 10 commercial brokers for the state of Virginia, Maryland right now. And guess what? They're on my list. They're not gonna get a Christmas gift this year because I put the strategy and everything together. They're not gonna get a Christmas gift from me this year. But guess what? We're gonna be in the same rooms. We're gonna be having the same conversations, and we're gonna be doing business together because I had the vision already. And I hadn't even talked to them yet. They don't even know it yet. But guess what? It's gonna happen because that's what I'm living on purpose, and I'm walking in vision. I'm walking in truth and everything. There we go. We like the kids, the young folks like to say they standing on business. Hey, like 9 to 5, you gotta be standing on business and know what it is that you're doing, what you're bringing to the table, and where you're gonna go. And you got to go out here and get it. Like chapter 4 of my book, it says take action. You got to take action. Go get the Millionaire Real Estate Success Strategies too. What they forgot to teach you in school. Pick up the book. I had a guy. He's a veteran. He was veteran retired finance guy. He reached out. He said, "Man, I went. We talked on. We did a 15-minute Zoom call, LinkedIn, and he's like, "Man, I read your book." He's like, "Yeah, we definitely got to do some stuff together, 2026." I'm like, "Let's go, man. Let's go. That's what we're about. That's what we're doing. We're taking action and moving out, and that's what it's all about." And I want to see everybody win. And I think that's. I won't say it's been a detriment, but you want to pour into people. But the thing is, in 2026, I gotta pour into the right people because a lot of times that I find you pour into people. Have y'all ever done this? You give people advice, you pour into them, and then you meet them 6 months later. They're in the same place, in the same exact place. We're like, man, what happened to that real estate property? You know, we were talking about it. You sent me the property. I underwrote it. It was a great deal. You put an offer in on it. Nah, man, yeah, I didn't put an offer. I didn't like it, man. It had, the front door was painted red. It should have been black. They had one of the windows was buzzed off. I'm like, man, that's how you add value. What you talking about? And it was like, I was like, okay, did you put any other offers in? Well, no, man, I got busy, man. I started work. I had picked up an extra shift and started working at the job. And like, okay, clearly this ain't important to you. It's not a priority. And so guess what? Do you think I'm gonna give this person another 30 minutes, another hour of my time? No, you have to protect your time. We already talked about how less amount of time we actually have left, and so you have to be selective because a lot of times people waste your time. Everyone's not serious. Everyone is not living on purpose. A lot of people are content. Hopefully, if you're tuned into this morning, that's not you. You're not content with where you are. You're looking to do better, to be better. Because guess what? In order to do better, you got to be better, and you have to become before you can do all these things. And so you have to become the person that can achieve these things because the person you are in 2025 is only going to get you to 2025 numbers. In order to go to the next level in 2026, you have to become the 2026 version of yourself to get to that next level. Because even for me, in order for me I've never been a financial advisor before 2 months ago. In order for me to do $10 million in revenue as an advisor next year, I'm gonna have to become a whole nother version of myself that I never been before to get to that level. And that's okay because I'm signing up for the work and I know it's gonna stretch me. It's gonna have to make me do different activities in my business, build different systems that Faye and we're building right now in the systems behind the scenes in order to do the strategic outreach and go directly where we're not having to go to the whole world. We're being laser focused, strategic, like a Marine sniper in order to take it to the next level, to focus in on who we need to talk to when we need to talk to them. And that's the same thing that you have to do for your life if you want to change it. And we're going to revisit that weekly with those goals. Ready to design the next chapter? I know it's a lot. We're wrapping up 8:50. I thought I was going to get out here at 8:30, but it's all good. Schedule your call. I want to have a conversation. If you're serious about building wealth in 2026 and you want to build on purpose, whether it's real estate, but some of you guys maybe need some, hey, how do I take my business to the next level type of strategy sessions as well. So we can talk that as well. And but book your alignment call, schedule your call. We'll drop it in the chat. Find me, JohnnyLionel.com, YouTube in the comments. I read the comments. Facebook, LinkedIn. You guys DM me on there. You guys know how to find me. I'm everywhere except TikTok. Well, I'm on TikTok, not on Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter on X. But you guys find me. If you're serious about going to 2026, we're aligning with the right people in REI Genius. Join the community. $97 a month. I'm dropping gems in there. If you're looking on the real estate side, I'm talking institutional deals. A lot of stuff I can't put out on social media when we start talking about breaking down the commercial markets, the data I have access to, and how I go through and how we're pricing out markets and why are real estate funds building 200 unit buildings in downtown San Jose opportunity zones. I can't go into depth on that and share a lot of the details, or what are the top multifamily funds, what are they buying, what markets are they taking institutional money and buying assets in right now. I can't share all that stuff online, but in the community I can. And we're talking about all those things and bringing in great guests and great people in my network that are doing great things, that are leveling up and building a community, a mastermind group, individuals that are taking action, that are serious about it. And it's $97 a month. I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't afford $97 a month, you should look at how to, for everybody, not just people who can't afford $97. But the big thing I would tell you, in this economy and where we're going, everyone should have a side hustle. Everyone should be doing something. Your skill set that you've built up for your employer, because these employers aren't loyal. We see it. Amazon's laying off people. UPS, everyone's laying off people. Ford Motor Company, they're probably about to lay off. I just saw where they cut their electric vehicle across the board. There's so much happening right now. The federal government laid off over 300,000 people this year. You have to take back control of your finances 100%. And for a lot of people, that's going to be consulting, creating a brand, services, whatever it is that you're doing in order to monetize it to go to the next level. But because all of us need to look at how can we increase our income, how can we increase our revenue, our bottom line, because in order to invest, you got to have capital, you got to have money. And the more discretionary income you can create by starting a side business, building up. I didn't just jump out and start and say, hey, I'm going to be a real estate investor. I don't need a job. I'm just going to go start flipping houses. No, I kept my job in the military. I kept my career for 10 years, flipping houses, building wealth, buying apartment complexes along the way, building systems, hiring a team, leveraging my wife, letting her run the operations during the day. Like you have to have a plan. You have to have a vision for your life in order to make it happen. And we'd love to have that conversation. Do have the alignment calls. It's in the chat. Check out the community, 7-day free trial. And the cool thing with the community, once you get in, if you refer somebody at $97, if you refer somebody in, guess what? You get to keep 40% of that. Like that's the max that school allow you to do, referral bonuses. So the thing is, like even that alone is generating revenue. If you really love the platform and what we're building, just refer people and get 40%. You refer 10 people, that's what $400 a month recurring income just from referring 10 people to the community. $97 a month for 10 people, and you keep 40% of that. So great opportunities are everywhere to build wealth in 2026. You just got to set the vision for your life, because you can do any and everything that you want to and you put your mind to. So focus on what it is that you want to do and just go do it. Take action. Find the people that's already doing it, that's world class at it, that's great at it, and follow their footsteps, because success leaves clues at the end of the day. That's it. It's been a pleasure. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. I'm wishing you clarity, peace, and bold vision for your year ahead. Like I'm telling you, 2026 should scare you guys. If it's not scaring you, you got to step your game up. You got to step it up. Eternally grateful for 2025. Take time to spend time with loved ones, family, have some laughs, some joys, cheer for your favorite football team, cheer for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and take the vision mindset into the new year boldly, intentionally, and without limits, because 2026 is going to be great. You got to claim it. You got to stand on business and make sure that it's going to happen and take the necessary actions to make your life great. Happy holidays. We love you guys. We'll be back here New Year's Eve as well. I think. If not, we'll have something. I may be traveling. I need to look at I need to check I think my flight leaves at 8 o'clock. We'll look and see. Yeah, I think yeah. So we'll see. on next. We may defer the hour. We may start an hour early. Or no, matter of fact, what I'll do, I'll once we get on the ground, I'll do something later in the day. So we're gonna still have REIG. We're gonna still have our $1 million coffee. It may be we may have brunch. So we may have mimosas. We may bring in Happy New Year, have mimosas, and have a brunch at like 1 p.m. Session, just because I'll be traveling in the morning. But we'll see you guys next week. Happy holidays. Be blessed. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you next week.